Breaking news, a verdict has been reached in the trial of the man known as El Chapo, Joaquin Guzman, for years the most powerful and notorious leader of the Sinaloa drug cartel.
In exploring the world's most dangerous inmates, one learns crime isn't always black and white.
The murder castle was in Chicago's Englewood neighborhood. It had trapdoors, mazes of hallways, and staircases that led nowhere. Inside, Holmes tortured and mutilated people.
While some prisoners committed minor offenses, others, like infamous killer H.H. Holmes, embody true evil. This list reveals the chilling variety of criminals. Here are 10 most dangerous prison inmates in the world. Number 10. Pablo Escobar. You know you've made headlines and aren't intimidated by prison when your mugshot shows you smiling. Pablo Escobar, the notorious Medellin cartel boss, has been glamorized in documentaries, but the truth was far from romantic. In the 1970s and 80s, he became one of the chief architects of the modern drug trade's deadly reach, smuggling an estimated 70 to 80 tons of cocaine into the U.S. each month. He waged brutal wars with rival cartels, corrupted officials, and stayed ahead of U.S. and international authorities. His ruthlessness left a trail of bodies, as anyone who opposed him became a target. Even repeated prison escapes couldn't save him. In 1993, at 44, Escobar was killed in a rooftop shootout. Decades later, his shadow still looms over the global drug trade. Number 9. Eric Robert Rudolph. Eric Robert Rudolph was behind the 1996 Olympic Park bombing in Atlanta, which killed 2 people and injured over 100 during the Games. Between 1996 and 1998, he carried out several other bombings, intensifying a nationwide manhunt to stop him before he struck again. For years, Rudolph evaded capture, surviving off the grid in the mountains until his arrest in 2003. Driven by an extremist worldview, he believed the U.S. government was embracing socialism and other imagined threats. Even in prison, Rudolph continues to spread his ideology, sending letters to supporters, some published online to promote his vision of America. His enduring influence is a stark reminder that extremist beliefs can persist long after the violence ends, posing ongoing risks to society. Number 8. Ramzi Youssef. Before September 11th, the World Trade Center had already been attacked in 1993, in a bombing involving Ramzi Youssef. A calculating terrorist, Youssef also carried out the bombing of Philippine Airlines Flight 434 and conceived the Bojinka plot, a plan to crash a plane into CIA headquarters, destroy 11 international airliners, cripple global air travel, and assassinate the Pope. The plot, though foiled by luck, later inspired the 9/11 attackers. Youssef became the subject of a worldwide manhunt until a tip led to his arrest. Convicted, he received 2 life sentences. His true danger lay in his cold readiness to kill on a massive scale, and his relentless intent to take even more lives. His legacy remains one of calculated brutality and global terror. Let's check out an interesting image for today's topic. There's an online photo some claim shows the most dangerous convict ever, though it may be staged or from a movie. The story says 4 guards watched him constantly, and the image suggests he could overpower them. Real or not, history has seen inmates so dangerous they were kept in extreme isolation in supermax prisons, designed to ensure zero escape risk and protect the public from those considered truly beyond control. Think you've got a better explanation? Share it in the comments. Before we go on, like this video, smash the subscribe button and click the notification bell right now. Number 7. H.H. Holmes. In the 1890s, Chicago became the hunting ground of one of America's first and most infamous serial killers, Dr. H.H. Holmes, later called the Beast of Chicago. He constructed his murder castle, a labyrinth of hidden rooms, trapdoors, and alleged torture chambers where many victims are believed to have perished. The truth remains murky. Holmes's confessions were wildly inconsistent, sometimes naming victims later found alive. Conflicting accounts make the full scope of his crimes impossible to confirm. What is certain is that Holmes was a calculating, dangerous killer. His reign of terror ended with his capture, trial, and execution. More than a century later, his story, blending fact, myth, and horror, still chills true crime historians and fascinates the public. Number 6. Dzhokhar Tsarnaev. In April 2013, the Boston Marathon bombing became one of the most notorious domestic terror attacks in U.S. history. Brothers Dzhokhar and Tamerlan Tsarnaev built homemade pressure cooker bombs, placing them near the marathon's crowded finish line. The explosions killed 3 people and injured 264 others, leaving Boston with deep physical and emotional scars. In the tense days that followed, the brothers went on the run, killing a police officer in their bid to escape. A massive citywide manhunt brought Boston to a standstill. Tamerlan was killed in a firefight with police, while Dzhokhar was captured soon after. In 2015, he was sentenced to death for his role in the attack and now awaits execution at Colorado's Supermax prison, home to some of America's most dangerous inmates. Number 5. Al Capone. When you picture an old-school gangster, one name stands out: Al Capone. During Prohibition, he captivated the United States and much of the world with a mix of street smarts, business savvy, and an uncanny ability to supply exactly what people wanted. Capone wasn't just feared, he was admired. He donated to charities, attended baseball games, and built a public image that won him fans. But beneath the charm was ruthless violence, most infamously seen in the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, where his rivals were gunned down in a calculated display of power. Ironically, his downfall came not from murder or racketeering, but from tax evasion, a conviction many saw as minor compared to his worst crimes. Nearly a century later, his name remains the gold standard of gangster notoriety. Number 4. Ted Kaczynski. Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, died by suicide in 2023. For nearly 2 decades, he mailed bombs to targets across the U.S., attacking those he believed advanced a dangerous technological future. An ardent environmentalist, he lived in isolation in a remote cabin, rejecting modern life. His manifesto urged abandoning industrial society for harmony with nature, a cause ironically fueled by nearby deforestation. Claiming his violent tactics were necessary, he forced the government to publish his manifesto in the Washington Post in exchange for halting attacks. That move exposed him. His brother recognized the writing and alerted the FBI. Arrested in 1996, Kaczynski pleaded guilty to killing 3 and injuring nearly 2 dozen, receiving multiple life sentences without parole. Number 3. Peter Sutcliffe. Jack the Ripper haunted London in the late 1800s, but nearly a century later, another Ripper emerged. In the 1970s, Peter Sutcliffe, the Yorkshire Ripper, waged a 6-year killing spree that left 13 women dead, though many believe the true number was higher. Like his Victorian namesake, Sutcliffe targeted women, often those in the red light district, assuming they were more vulnerable and police would be slow to act. His arrogance eventually led to his downfall. After years of evading capture, he was arrested and brought to trial. Sutcliffe tried to plead diminished capacity, but the court rejected it. He was sentenced to life in prison, where he remained until his death in 2020, closing one of modern Britain's darkest criminal chapters. Number 2. Terry Lynn Nichols. Tonight's story covers a hunger strike by Terry Lynn Nichols, a conspirator in the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing, the deadliest act of domestic terrorism in U.S. history. Nichols wasn't the mastermind. That was Timothy McVeigh. But he helped carry out the attack, proving it was a calculated plot, not the act of a lone extremist. The two barely knew each other, meeting briefly in the U.S. Army before joining forces to commit an atrocity that scarred the nation. In 1997, Nichols was convicted of conspiracy to use a weapon of mass destruction and 8 counts of involuntary manslaughter for the deaths of federal officers. Sentenced to life without parole, he was placed in Bombers Row alongside other notorious criminals. For many, even that sentence feels far too lenient for his role in the tragedy. Number 1. Charles Manson. Charles Manson's charm was anything but harmless. In the late 1960s, he formed a cult, a devoted group of young men and women willing to do whatever he commanded. Among them were 7 who would commit murders at his direction. Manson twisted the Beatles' song Helter Skelter into a prophecy of an impending race war. Strangely, he never personally killed anyone. Instead, prosecutors proved he manipulated and groomed his followers into becoming killers, embedding his violent visions so deeply they acted without hesitation. Though he denied responsibility until his death, Manson was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. He remained there until 2017, when colon cancer ended the life of one of America's most infamous and unsettling cult leaders. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Thanks for watching.